here before time. John 10 and 20 said we hear that voice now. Rising up, you see them God, don't get scared now. We on their head now, yeah, cause it's wartime. The Lord ordained all of this here before time. John 10 and 20 said we hear that voice now. Rising up, you see them gods, don't be scared now. We on their head now. Forget the corner, yeah, we want the world. Been putting in that work. You can't do it like we do it, now they mad, they feelings hurt. On the gas, better keep up, yeah, we do this round the earth. But we still down to earth. They just mad we did it first. From the US to the DR, yeah, you know we coast to coast. India, South America, you know we had to go. All in Africa, Barbados, and in Ecuador. I know they want us to stop, but for the Lord we do the most. Yeah, this the mission. Like Peter and Andrew.
Shalom, shalom. Most High in Christ bless. Most High in Christ bless. We back with another class. Let's pull up that thumbnail. Let's see what we talking about tonight. Read that for me, sir.
God's tolerance varies.
That's something that we got to understand. The reason why we going over that tonight is because a lot of our people, they think that they can keep committing sin, they could do what they want to do, and they think that they just got this leeway to get away with it. So we're going to go through the scriptures, and we're going to look at some history of our forefathers and see if that's a true statement. Does God's tolerance vary? Or are we allowed to just do what we want to do and no repercussions, no punishment behind it? We're going to see. Let's first get these two definitions. Let's get that AI overview definition. Let's get that first one. Read that.
Tolerance. Tolerance generally refers to the capacity to endure, accept, or allow something, whether that is a difference in beliefs, a physical substance, or a mechanical standard.
So let's look at that. Now they talking about like accepting other people if they different. No, we talking about the Most High God. You got to ask yourself, how far is God's capacity to endure, accept, or allow your wrongdoing? Do he got a short fuse with you, or you got a little leeway with him? You don't know that. So it's not up for us to test God. That's what this class is about. That's why you wonder when people constantly stealing, they constantly lying, they constantly fornicating, constantly committing adultery, constantly murmuring, they constantly doing these things, and they not understanding that God could be like this close to putting your behind to death, and you don't even understand. So we're going to look at some examples of that. You could drop that, get the next definition, Merriam-Webster. Because some people might think, well, I read about so-and-so, they didn't die. That's them. You don't know what he's going to do to you. Read that.
Tolerance. Capacity to endure pain or hardship.
Read.
Endurance. Fortitude. Stamina.
Read the next one.
Number 2, sympathy or indulgence for beliefs or practices differing from or conflicting with one's own.
B, read B. 2B.
The act of allowing something, toleration.
The act of allowing something. So you got to ask yourself, is God going to keep allowing you to go against his word? He going to keep allowing you to be disobedient. We're going to go into the scriptures now. Get 2 Samuel 11. Now, we're going to look at the forefather King David. We're going to jump through some of the history of King David. And then we're going to keep going from there, because I want us to look at something. Because a lot of times people really do believe that because they read about other people that did things, that you're going to have that same long leash, as they say. You're going to have that same grace to constantly do wrong. Our forefathers and foremothers, when they did wrong, they corrected themselves quickly. But you have some people that say, well, you know, I ain't dead yet. God ain't did nothing to me yet. You basically testing God. That's what you doing. That's why you keep hearing accounts and incidents with people. It's like, man, you just playing with God at this point. You don't believe that this Bible is a true book. So let's get 2 Samuel 11, verse 1 to 5. We're going to do some jumping so you can read fast, because I want to get through these brief points with King David.
2 Samuel chapter 11 and verse 1.
Okay.
And it came to pass after the year was expired, at the time when kings go forth to battle, that David sent Joab and his servants with him and all Israel, and they destroyed the children of Ammon and besieged Rabbah. But David tarried still at Jerusalem.
First problem, he's supposed to have been at war. This was the time where kings are supposed to go to war. He's supposed to have been at war, but he was at home idle. Read on.
And it came to pass in an eventide that David arose from off his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon.
Read on.
And
he didn't turn away his eyes. We supposed to turn away our eyes. He was lusting after this woman. Read on.
Verse 3, and David sent and inquired after the woman. And one said, is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Elam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite?
Read on.
And David sent messengers and took her. And she came in unto him, and he lay with her. For she was purified from her uncleanness, and she returned unto her house.
You knew it was the spirit on him. He had the devil on him, because after they told him that was somebody's wife, he still said, I don't care, bring her to me. Read on.
And the woman conceived and sent and told David and said, I am with child.
So he not only slept with this woman, he got her pregnant. Now, let's jump down to verse 10. Read.
Verse 10, and when they had told David, saying, Uriah went not down unto his house, David sent unto Uriah, comest thou not from thy journey? Why then didst thou not go down unto thine house?
So at this point, now his plan is, let me try to get this man to go to his house, sleep with his wife, so when she starts showing, he think that that's his baby. That's evil. This was him trying to clean up his mess that he made. Read.
Verse 11, and Uriah said unto David, the ark and Israel and Judah abide in tents, and my lord Joab and the servants of my lord are encamped in the open fields. Shall I then go into mine house to eat and to drink and to lie with my wife? And as thou livest and as thy soul liveth, I will not do this thing.
Read on.
And David said to Uriah, tarry here today also, and tomorrow I will let thee depart. So Uriah abode in Jerusalem that day and the morrow.
Read on.
And when David had called him, he did eat and drink before him, and he made him drunk.
You see that? He made him drunk. Why? He getting him drunk in hopes that he gonna go home and he gonna lay with his wife to cover up what he did. That's evil. Read.
And at even he went out to lie on his bed with the servants of his Lord, but went not down to his house.
So with all his attempts to try to get this man to go home, sleep with his wife, lay with her in hopes that she starts showing, he say, oh man, we got another baby coming, knowing he just got her pregnant. With all of these attempts, that didn't work. So what does he do next? Read on. Jump to 14 now.
Verse 14, And it came to pass in the morning that David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it by the hand of Uriah. And he wrote in the letter, saying, set ye Uriah in the forefront of the hottest battle.
Read.
And retire ye from him, that he may be smitten and die.
So he said, put him where the battle is the most dangerous. Wherever the fight is the most dangerous, put him there. And when y'all go in there, y'all start fighting, have everybody back away from him, so he by himself and he die right there. Y'all hear that? So it go from adultery to him trying to cover it up to now what? Murder. Read.
And it came to pass, when Joab observed the city, that he assigned Uriah unto a place where he knew that violent men were.
Valiant men were where the strongest men was at, because they was fighting against Ammon, the so-called Japanese. Read.
And the men of the city went out and fought with Joab. And there fell some of the people of the servants of David. And Uriah the Hittite died also.
Okay. So this was David committing murder, committing adultery right here. Now, jump over to chapter 12, verse 5.
The book of 2 Samuel, chapter 12 and verse 5. And David's anger was greatly kindled against the man. And he said to Nathan, as the Lord liveth, the man that hath done this thing shall surely die.
Read.
And he shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing, and because he had no pity.
I told y'all we gonna jump, so I'm hitting the 2 times button. We fast forwarding. So Nathan just told King David a parable about a man who took from somebody and he already had his own. Watch this. Read on. And David is saying to Nathan, the man that took from that man that was poor, he need to get judged. And he need to bring 10 times that back to the man and repay him. Read on, verse 7.
Verse 7. And Nathan said to David, thou art the man.
So he told him a story, and he was like, at the end of it, David getting mad, like, man, who did that? Why would he do that to him? He said, that's about you. Read.
Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, I anointed thee king over Israel.
Read on.
And I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul. And I gave thee thy master's house and thy master's wives into thy bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah. And if that had been too little, I would moreover have given unto thee such things.
So the prophet is giving him the message from the Lord. He's saying, the Lord is saying, if what I gave you was too little, I would have gave you more. You didn't have to take that man's wife. Read.
Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Lord, to do evil in his sight? Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon.
You used the heathen to kill your own brother and take his wife. Now, jump to verse 10.
Verse 10. Now, therefore, the sword shall never depart from thine house.
It's always going to be war and conflict in your household. You are not going to have peace in your house because of this. I want all of us to pay attention to that. Because of this one act that he did not have peace in his house the rest of his days. Think about that. Read on.
Because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife.
Read.
Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house.
He said, I'm going to raise up evil against you out of your own house. Read on.
And I will take thy wives before thine eyes, and give them unto thy neighbor, and he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of this son.
Read on.
For thou didst it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun.
Read on.
And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. And Nathan said unto David, the Lord also hath put away thy sin. Thou shalt not die.
Read.
Howbeit, because by this deed thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme, the child also that is born unto thee shall surely die.
So what we read about right there, we read about David's judgment and we read about his repentance. So right here, David is getting his judgment for his acts that he did. So one of the judgments that's going to come upon him, the Lord said, you took a man's wife in secret, but I'm going to make sure that happened to you openly. Somebody going to do that to you, but they going to do it in the open and shame you and embarrass you. Then he said to him, the Lord has forgiven you, because David repented right there. The Lord has forgiven you, but on top of that, that child that you just impregnated her with, that child finna die. So the Lord put that child to death. Everybody see this? All this is happening because of that one act. From there, jump to chapter 12. We're going to read 15 to 19, then we're going to jump. We building right now. Right now I'm showing what happened to David because of this act. Go ahead.
2 Samuel chapter 12 and verse 15.
Read.
And Nathan departed unto his house, and the Lord struck the child that Uriah's wife bare unto David, and it was very sick.
Read.
David therefore besought God for the child, and David fasted and went in and lay all night upon the earth.
Read.
And the elders of his house arose and went to him to raise him up from the earth, but he would not, neither did he eat bread with them.
Read.
And it came to pass on the 7th day that the child died, and the servants of David feared to tell him that the child was dead. For they said, Behold, while the child was yet alive, we spake unto him, and he would not hearken unto our voice. How will he then vex himself if we tell him that the child is dead?
So he fasting for days, he ain't eating, and they like, man, I don't want you gonna go in there and tell him that the child dead? I don't want to tell him. He might do something else to himself. Read.
Verse 19. But when David saw that his servants whispered, David perceived that the child was dead.
You know how it go. That's like when you got a family member or something in the hospital, and then you seeing how the doctors and everybody looking on their face. He can tell by how people talking that the child is dead. He already can peep it. Read.
Therefore David said unto his servants, Is the child dead? And they said, He is dead.
So, stop there. So this was the judgments coming upon him for that act that he committed. That child he had with Bathsheba, the Lord put that child to death, hit that child with a sickness. From there, now jump to 2 Samuel 13 and verse 13.
2 Samuel chapter 13 and verse 13. And I, whither shall I cause my shame to go? And as for thee, thou shalt be as one of the fools in Israel.
Read.
Now therefore I pray thee, speak unto the king, for he willed not withhold me from thee.
Read on.
Howbeit, he would not hearken unto her voice, but being stronger than she, forced her and lay with her.
So what we reading right here, you're reading about Amnon raping Tamar. These was both of King David's children, his son and his daughter, but they had different mothers. This was going back to the judgment that would happen to him. Remember what Nathan told him, the sword is not going to depart from your house. So David had all hell breaking loose in his house. This is an image right here. David had all hell breaking loose in his house from that one act that he did. That's the example of the clothes with many colors, because Tamar was a virgin. That's another thing. That's where we get that from. Those of y'all that know, you know what we got set up. That's where we get that from. But the clothing of many colors was for virgins, not sisters that was out there. I want to say that. Read on.
Verse 15. Then Amnon hated her exceedingly, so that the hatred wherewith he hated her was greater than the love wherewith he had loved her. And Ammon said unto her, Arise, be gone.
So he took advantage of her, he raped her, and then he tossed her to the side like she was garbage. Shamed her, defiled her like that. Now all of this is happening. Why? Because of what David did. Remember what Nathan told him, the sword is not going to depart from your household. Now, from there, jump to verse 28 and 29.
Verse 28. Now Absalom had commanded his servants, saying, Mark ye now, when Amnon's heart is merry with wine, and when I say unto you, smite Amnon, then kill him. Fear not. Have not I commanded you? Be courageous and be valiant.
So this is Absalom. This is King David's other son. So quick background, Absalom and Tamar, they got the same mama. So Tamar let Absalom know what happened. Absalom asked, who did this to you? And she said, who did it? So Absalom, he set up a whole meeting with all King David's sons, his brothers, made sure Amnon was there. And he said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to have a party. When Amnon come in there, I want y'all to kill him. I'm going to give y'all the signal. Y'all going to kill him. These is King David's children doing harm to each other. But remember why? That one act that he did, the adultery and the murder with Bathsheba and Uriah the Hittite. So all hell is breaking loose in his house because of this. Read on.
Verse 29. And the servants of Absalom did unto Amnon as Absalom had commanded. Then all the king's sons arose, and every man got him up upon his mule and fled.
Now one of David's sons, Absalom, kills his brother Amnon. That's how he probably was looking at him at the whole party. He threw a party, he made sure he was drunk, and then he told his boys, hey, I'm gonna give y'all the signal, kill him. These is all the things that's happening in David's house. 2 Samuel 15, verse 10.
The book of 2 Samuel, chapter 15 and verse 10. But Absalom sent spies throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, as soon as ye hear the sound of the trumpet, then ye shall say, Absalom reigneth in Hebron.
Read.
And with Absalom went 200 men out of Jerusalem that were called, and they went in their simplicity, and they knew not anything.
What's happening right here? Absalom is beginning to rebel against his father. All of these things is happening in King David's household because of what? That one act that he did. His house is falling apart before his eyes. Now his son is rebelling against him. From there, now get 2 Samuel 16, verse 20. You see how everything getting worse and worse and worse. It's a domino effect from that one act that he did. This could happen to one of us. We don't think about that. When you go out here and you commit sin, you do acts, you don't think about the repercussions. You don't think about who's affected behind that one thing that you do. All of this stuff is happening with his kids because of what he did. The Lord forgave him, but he said, I still got to punish you for what you did. Read.
The book of 2 Samuel, chapter 16 and verse 20.
Read.
Then said Absalom to Ahithophel, give counsel among you what we shall do. And Ahithophel said unto Absalom, go in unto thy father's concubines, which he hath left to keep the house, and all Israel shall hear that thou art abhorred of thy father.
So they was giving him, Ahithophel was giving him counsel, saying, once you do this, everybody gonna know you the man. Take your father's wives. That's some evil stuff. But Absalom wanted power. But don't forget why this is happening. This is happening because of what? What David did. All of this stuff happening to his kids. So keep that in mind when we doing wrong. You can affect the others around you. Read on.
Then shall the hands of all that are with thee be strong.
Read.
So they spread Absalom a tent upon the top of the house, and Absalom went in unto his father's concubines in the sight of all Israel.
Remember what Nathan told David. He said, you took a man's wife in secret. I'm going to have somebody do this to you in the open. So just picture this man get a tent, a big tent, have it set up on the roof in front of everybody, and take all his father's wives inside and sleep with them. This back then, this ain't no soundproof walls. This in the open in front of everybody. Why? Because he's trying to show what? No, don't follow David. I'm in charge. I just took his wives. I'm in charge. Don't follow him, follow me. That's why Ahithophel said, your men gonna be strong after you do this. They gonna know you in charge. From there, read on.
Verse 23. And the counsel of Ahithophel, which he counseled in those days.
You could drop that from there. So we got his son sleeping with his wives. All this stuff is happening in King David's house. Now, with all that, 1 Samuel 13 and verse 13. Because a lot of times when we hear that history of David, we be like, well, man, David did this, David did that. But you can't forget who David was. David wasn't just no anybody. Read that.
1 Samuel chapter 13 and verse 13. And Samuel said to Saul, thou hast done foolishly. Thou hast not kept the commandment of the Lord thy God, which he commanded thee. For now would the Lord have established thy kingdom upon Israel forever.
So remember, I'm fast forwarding through everything. What's happening here? We went back into history. Samuel is telling Saul, the Most High God is taking you away from being king. You're not going to be king no more because you rebelled against God. But it's something I want us to see about King David. Jump down to verse 14. Read on.
Verse 14. But now thy kingdom shall not continue.
The
Lord had sought him a man after his own heart.
Read.
And the Lord hath commanded him to be a captain over his people, because thou hast not kept that which the Lord commanded thee.
So right here, this is way before David came into the picture. But this was talking about David. Saul didn't know who the replacement was going to be. But this was talking about David. It said he was a man after the Lord's heart. He wasn't just know anybody. From there, get Acts 13 and 22. Acts 13 and 22. Got to point some things out about David, because sometimes you might have some brothers think they could do the same thing. You not David. David wasn't know anybody.
Acts chapter 13 and verse 22.
And I want to say this. You go out there and do the same thing he did. That don't mean you're going to get the same mercy. That's what we talking about tonight. You go out there and do that, you might drop dead right there. Read that.
Acts chapter 13 and verse 22.
Read.
And when he had removed him, he raised up unto them David to be their king.
That part where it says, and when he had removed him, that's talking about Saul. When the Lord had removed Saul from being king, he put David in his place. Read on.
To whom also he gave testimony and said, I have found David, the son of Jesse, a man after mine own heart.
Read on.
Which shall fulfill all my will.
Who could compare themselves to that? It said David was a man after his own heart, and he did all of God's will. That's not just no anybody. From there, drop that. Get 1 Kings 15 and 5. I'm showing y'all about David. David had that pitfall, but don't mistake who that man is in the spirit. He not just no anybody. I'm going to show you something. You probably never heard this, what we finna read. We often hear about what he did wrong, but you got to understand something about who he was. Read.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 15 and verse 5.
Read.
Because David did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord, and turned not aside from anything that he commanded him all the days of his life.
Stop right there. How many people can actually say they do everything that God says? So how can we compare? How can you say, well, David did it? Yeah, but David messed up that one time. You repeatedly messing up over and over, no remorse, not the same. And that don't mean you're going to get the same mercy. Read.
Save only in the matter of Uriah the Hittite.
That's the only thing you could talk about with that man. Outside of that, he did everything God told him to do. That's different from a person who repeatedly, over and over, doing the same thing nonstop, hiding stuff, doing things in secret. That's not the same. He slipped up, but that's the Bible tells you he was a man after the Lord's heart, and he followed the Lord fully. Can't compare the two. And you got to look at this too. The Lord forgave him. He repented, but he still had to pay for what he did. You ever hear people say, man, I'm still paying for things I did 10 years ago. That's a real thing. We got to be mindful. From there, get Ecclesiastes 8, verse 11. Why do people constantly keep doing evil? Why do they constantly keep breaking God's commandments? We finna dig into that. Why do they keep doing it? We're going to let the Bible speak. Ecclesiastes 8 and verse 11.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 8 and verse 11. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of man is fully set in them to do evil.
Because you don't drop dead right when you steal something, right when you lie, right when you commit adultery, right when you fornicate, Negro, keep doing it. You keep on doing it. That's why you have people who go on bank robbery sprees. They keep robbing banks. I got away with it once. Well, maybe I'm going to get away with it again. And they keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. Next thing you know, they get caught. Now they doing 30 plus years. The judgment don't be quick. Why? Because God wants us to fix ourselves. But some of us, we play with the Lord. That's why the fornication be so rampant. I ain't there yet. I know the disease is real, but I ain't caught none. You don't know where God's measuring stick is with you. That's not none to play with. David got a sickness after he committed his adultery. So that's not nothing to play with. We don't know where God's threshold is with us. That's what we talking about tonight. From there, get Romans 3:18. So people willingly sin because judgment don't come quick. That's why they keep doing it. You be sitting there wondering like, man, you back at it again. That's because the Lord has not put them to death right then and there. So they think they can keep getting away with it. Romans 3:18. This is another reason why they do what they do. Read that.
The book of Romans, chapter 3 and verse 18.
Read.
There is no fear of God before their eyes.
They have no fear of God. They do not fear God. That's what it is. When a person you constantly hearing this person, they steady doing this stuff over and over. They don't fear God. They don't believe that they could walk out the door and die. God could kill them right then and there. And that's just on this side. They don't believe that when we stand before the Lord in the end, we're going to be judged for what we do in this life. They don't believe that. It's no fear. That's why a person will continue to sin over and over and over. Let that sink in. Get Sirach 23:19. This is what they're afraid of. Sirach 23:19.
The book of Sirach, chapter 23 and verse 19.
Read.
Such a man only feareth the eyes of men.
Read that part again.
Such a man only feareth the eyes of men.
You're only worried about men seeing you do the wrong. You're not worried about God seeing you do the wrong. Read on.
And knoweth not that the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun.
It's no point of doing all the sneaking, the going from Snapchat to Facebook to Instagram. You in all these different social medias trying to cover your tracks for what? God see everything you do, but you don't fear God. You only fear man. Read on.
Beholding all the ways of man, and considering the most secret parts.
God knows every thought that's in our minds. God knows everything you plotting on, you thinking about doing. He see it all because we got angels assigned to us. But like it said in Romans 3:18, they have no fear of God. They only fear man. Oh, well, the brothers didn't see me do it. The sisters didn't see me do it. God sees you, and you don't know how long you have because you're testing God. When you willingly sin, you up there testing God. You know what you're doing is wrong. Don't nobody got to tell you. You don't even know how long you got to breathe while you playing with the Lord. Matthew 10:28. You shouldn't fear man. This is who you should fear. Let the Bible tell you. Matthew 10:28.
The book of Matthew, chapter 10 and verse 28.
Read.
And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul.
Man cannot do anything but kill this fleshly body. What can God do? Read.
But rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell.
God is able to destroy your whole existence. That's what you need to be afraid of. But the Negro is not afraid of God. You have no fear of God. That's why they keep doing what they doing. From there, get 1 Kings 13 and verse 1. First Kings 13 verse 1. We're going to jump through this chapter, and then I want us to hit some of these videos.
1 Kings chapter 13 and verse 1. And behold, there came a man of God out of Judah by the word of the Lord unto Bethel, and Jeroboam stood by the altar to burn incense. And he cried against the altar in the word of the Lord, and said, O altar, thus saith the Lord, behold, a child shall be born unto the house of David.
Stop right there. That's verse 1.
It's verse 2, sir.
All right, jump down to verse 6. So this was a man of God who
Verse
came
6.
to the house of Jeroboam. Read.
Verse 6. And the king answered and said unto the man of God, entreat now the face of the Lord thy God, and pray for me, that my hand may be restored me again. And the man of God besought the Lord, and the king's hand was restored him again, and became as it was before.
Because Jeroboam's hand was withered. Some type of, his hand got diseased some type of way. And the man of God prayed unto the Lord, and his hand was restored. Read.
Verse 7. And the king said unto the man of God, come home with me and refresh thyself, and I will give thee a reward.
Listen good, y'all. Read.
And the man of God said unto the king, if thou wilt give me half thine house, I will not go in with thee, neither will I eat bread nor drink water in this place.
Verse 9. Listen to verse 9. Remember verse 9. Read that.
For so was it charged me by the word of the Lord, saying, eat no bread, nor drink water, nor turn again by the same way that thou comest.
So we all hear the order that this man was given. He said, I can't go with you because God told me don't come this way, don't eat nothing, don't drink nothing. Those was my orders. Everybody see that, right? From there, from 10, jump to verse 12. Let's see what happens. Now the man of God know what God told him to do. Let's see what happens. Verse 12.
Verse 12. And their father said unto them, what way went he? For his sons had seen what way the man of God went, which came from Judah.
Now, these was another group of people that heard about the acts that the man of God did. He healed Jeroboam's hand. So they like, man, where the man of God go? Which way he went? We got to find him. Read.
And he said unto his sons, saddle me the ass. So they saddled him the ass, and he rode thereon.
They didn't went and got a donkey. They jumped on the donkey. They trying to find the brother. Read.
And went after the man of God, and found him sitting under an oak. And he said unto him, art thou the man of God that comest from Judah?
Read.
And he said, I am. Then he said unto him, come home with me and eat bread. And he said, I may not return with thee, nor go in with thee, neither will I eat bread nor drink water with thee in this place. For it was said to me by the word of the Lord, thou shalt eat no bread, nor drink water there, nor turn again to go by the way that thou comest.
He is. Hold on. He repeating his orders again that he was given from the Lord. But keep reading. Watch this. Read.
Verse 18. He said unto him, I am a prophet also as thou art.
He said, I'm a prophet like you a prophet. So he says, read.
And an angel spake unto me by the word of the Lord, saying, bring him back with thee into thine house, that he may eat bread and drink water. But he lied unto him.
He did what?
But he lied unto him.
He did what?
But he lied unto him.
He lied to him. Read on.
So he went back with him, and did eat bread in his house and drank water. And it came to pass, as they sat at the table, that the word of the Lord came unto the prophet that brought him back.
So the word of the Lord, the same one that lied to him and said, I'm a prophet like you a prophet. The word of the Lord came on that man and said what? Read.
And he carried unto the man of God that came from Judah, saying, thus saith the Lord, for as much as thou hast disobeyed the mouth of the Lord, and hast not kept the commandment which the Lord thy God commanded thee, but comest back and hast eaten bread and drunk water in the place of the which the Lord did say unto thee, eat no bread and drink no water.
Read.
Thy carcass shall not come unto the sepulchre of thy fathers.
So because you disobeyed God, you're not going to be buried with your fathers. You know, the sepulchre, that's the fancy grave. That's the one they got to walk inside. They done chiseled it. It might got some designs on there. You ain't getting buried with your fathers because you disobeyed the Lord. You see how he messed up and he getting put to death instantly? That could be any one of us. We don't know. So why test God? Why play with God like that? Read.
And it came to pass, after he had eaten bread and after he had drunk, that he saddled from him the ass to wit, for the prophet whom he had brought back.
Read.
And when he was gone, a lion met him by the way and slew him.
A lion met him while he was traveling, leaving from that man's house, and killed him. Read.
And his carcass was cast in the way, and the ass stood by it. The lion also stood by the carcass.
So this brother got put to death instantly. We act like we can't get put to death like that when we go against God. Let that sink in. From there, get video 1. It be a lot of partying going on when it's hot outside. Press play.
Cheryl and Rob, several victims of a drive-by shooting tonight on the west side brought to hospitals, including here at Stroger Hospital. Neighbors and onlookers gather in the Austin neighborhood after a mass shooting at 7:25 tonight. Police say someone in an SUV drove up on 4 males on the sidewalk in the first block of North Lockwood and shot them. The victims were 15, 34, 36, and 32 years of age. All were transported to area hospitals. The 32-year-old was pronounced dead.
Keep in mind on the families that may be suffering from maybe a loved one being lost or injured, not only at this scene, but across the city of Chicago.
Several bullet markers on the ground indicate how violent this incident was, with a violence interrupter on scene to support families.
Our biggest focus is how can we reduce violence constantly in the city of Chicago?
Pause it. He said, how can we reduce violence in the city of Chicago? Keep God's commandments. That's it.
Right.
We don't keep God's commandments. What you are seeing is the judgment of God. Because on all these blocks, these neighborhoods, is wickedness going down. We know what they doing on these blocks and these parties, these house parties, these clubs. There's nothing but evil going on. So the Lord sends forth his wrath down these blocks into these clubs. And stuff happens so fast. It's nothing for you to be walking. You might be doing something in secret. And then you get hit with all the bullets. The ones that they was for, don't hit none of them. But God know what you doing. You know what you doing. Play on.
The case, fairly heavy police presence here at Stroger Hospital tonight as Area 4 detectives continue their investigation of the shooting on the west side.
From there, get video too. Some could happen in a blink of an eye. And when it do happen, that's when you get the remembering. You get the retracing your steps. Like, man, what I do? Damn, did I do something wrong? That's when you start reflecting. God know his people. Play.
Suzanne, thankfully, those 4 teenage boys are in good condition. Their ages just 12 to 14 years old. We know less than 2 hours after they were brought here to the emergency room, multiple adults were brought for gunshot wounds to an emergency room just steps away from here. We know one of those adults is in critical condition at last check. I want to show you video we have of that scene where those teenagers were shot. This is near Prairie Avenue and 45th Street. Happened just before 10 o'clock last night. Chicago
This
police
is the
say
South Side.
An unknown suspect
Mass
opened fire.
shooting again. Things happen very quickly. It's a scripture. We're going to get to it. You forget all your good times when that affliction come. Get Numbers 15:32. This is another example. Somebody that went against the Lord, they was judged instantly.
The book of Numbers, chapter 15 and verse 32.
Then you got to think, if the Lord didn't deliver you out of a lot of near-death experiences, and then you come into this truth, and then you still playing with God, something is wrong with you. Because he could have killed you them other times. Read.
And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day.
Wasn't nobody making him gather sticks. He was doing this on his own, on the Lord's Sabbath. That's something else. Like, people be thinking, they don't think. I don't think people think like, you willingly, I'm finna go on here, give me some overtime. You know what you doing. We ain't talking about when you get forced, because that happens to some of us. We talking about you willingly walk in there and sign your name. You think you gonna make it to the job? You know what you doing. You know how many car accidents it done been? And it'll be that one time you think you finna go break the Lord's Sabbath and you be the one on the news. It can happen. But a lot of people don't believe that. Read.
And they that found him gathering sticks brought him unto Moses and Aaron and unto all the congregation. And they put him inward because it was not declared what should be done to him.
It said when they found him, they put him in ward because they had to figure out what we going to do. We just caught this brother breaking the Sabbath. Let's see, was God going to show him some mercy? Was he going to get some leeway? Or was he going to get put to death? Let's see, read.
And the Lord said unto Moses, the man shall be surely put to death.
Y'all see that? We don't know if that's us, so why play them games? Why keep testing God? You see it happen to other people. You hear about other people catching diseases and they got to live with it forever. You think it won't be you? Or you hear about people getting hit with bullets and they wasn't even in the shootout. It can be you because you know what you're supposed to do. That's what separates us from everybody else. You know you're supposed to be what? Walking in God's commandments. So you're not innocent. You're not unaware. The difference between you and a lot of our people outside, they don't know God's commandments. They still God's people, but they don't know God's commandments. You know God's commandments, so your judgment is going to be worse in this life and afterward. Read on.
All the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp.
Read.
And all the congregation brought him without the camp and stoned him with stones, and he died, as the Lord commanded Moses.
Next, get Numbers 25, verse 1. These is just examples. You don't know. You really think God gonna keep tolerating your behavior, and you know what you're doing. That's the difference. You know what you're doing. Read that.
The book of Numbers, chapter 25 and verse 1.
Read.
And Israel abode in Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab.
So they was sleeping with the Chinese women. That's the first thing they was doing. Read on.
And they called the people unto the sacrifices of their gods, and the people did eat and bowed down to their gods.
So they was sleeping with the Chinese women and they was worshiping their gods. Our people today don't even know. They in the midst of sin, worshiping that false image of Jesus, celebrating Easter, celebrating Christmas, all these different pagan holidays that's the roots go back to devil worship. Celebrating July 4th. July 4th and Memorial Day weekend, always the bloodiest weekends of the year. And at them functions, ain't nothing but evil going on. And we wonder why people dying. Read.
Verse 3. And all Israel joined himself unto Baal Peor, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel.
Read.
And the Lord said unto Moses, take all the heads of the people and hang them before the Lord against the sun.
Read.
That the fierce anger of the Lord may be turned away from Israel.
He said, in order for the anger of the Lord to be turned away, all of their heads must be hung before the sun. Just imagine an image like that. You seeing heads of all the people that was in the interracial marriage, worshiping these other gods, hanging for disobeying God. That's the wrath of the Lord. Read.
And Moses said unto the judges of Israel, slay ye every one his man that will join unto Baal Peor.
So each man, if he had 5 men assigned to him, 10 men assigned to him, he had to go through and check all his men and see if they was in the midst of that stuff. If they was in the midst of that stuff, they had to die. Wasn't no mercy. You don't know. That's what I want us to take from this lesson. You don't know what God's mercy is with you. You don't know if you one cigarette away, one drug away from God saying, you know what, I'm tired of playing with them. They think I'm playing. You don't think you can be the car that flipped 7 times. You don't think that can be you. Drop that. From there, get Deuteronomy 32 and 39. We forget this verse. A lot of us know this verse. You've been around for a minute. You heard this verse. But sometimes we need a refresher. Refresh our mind. Remind yourself of the God that you serve.
Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 39.
Read.
See now that I, even I am he, and there is no God with me.
Read.
I kill.
What does God do?
I kill.
We got to remind ourselves of that. God kills. They don't tell you that in church. They say God is all love. No, God kills. You will be put to death for breaking God's commandments. Read.
And I make alive.
And I make alive. Read.
I wound.
Uh-huh.
And I heal.
God wounds and he heals. God is the reason why people are wounded and then they are healed. God is behind all that. Read.
Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand.
Read that bottom part again. Read it again.
Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand.
Once God is coming for your behind, it ain't nothing nobody could do. Let that be some fear that seep into your soul. Once God has decided, okay, that's it for her. That's it for him. They are disobedient. You gonna feel the wrath of God. What David caught was mercy. Think about that. And he loved David, and that was mercy. We just read about all the hell that David caught in his house, and the Lord ain't killed him. That was mercy. So imagine somebody that he is tired of. Imagine somebody that refuses to change. What he gonna do to him? That's just in this flesh. Remember, we gonna wake back up and we gotta stand before the Lord, and then our acts in this life gonna get matched up with the Bible. Like the bishop say, the party ain't over. You still got to get punished some more. Let that seep into your mind. Get 1 Samuel 2:6. This is the God that you serve.
The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 2 and verse 6.
That's why you can't see a person, they constantly doing the same stuff over and over and over and over. You don't have no fear of God. You can't tell me that you do. You have no fear of God. That's a sign of unbelief. And you don't know where your threshold is with the Lord until he get to the point where he like, you know what? I'm putting her behind the death. I'm putting his behind the death. You don't know. Read.
The Lord killeth and maketh alive.
Uh-huh.
He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up.
That's why some of us have survived certain things. Get that video. I have survived. We may not be able to go through all the time stamps, so just go to the first one, then the second one, then the third one. I'll explain it. Hey, let's take it back just a little bit so the prophet could read them subtitles, because it was touching on some things, the background of it. Nah, you went back too far. That's somebody else. That's a whole different situation. Go back to the original timestamp and then pause it so the prophet could read it. Some of us have survived things like this. Go ahead, play it. I'm going to tell you when to stop. All right, yep, stop right there. Read that, sir.
This program contains subject matter that may be disturbing to some viewers. Sharitha is a 24-year-old college student.
She's 24 years old and a college student. Play. Pause.
She lives alone in a second-story apartment.
Play.
I had just turned in my college term paper. I also was working a part-time job, and on that particular day, me and my mom had just went to my Lamaze class, because at the time I was 7.5 months pregnant.
Pause.
When her childbirth class ended, Sharitha returned home and went to bed.
So she's 7 months pregnant. After her childbirth class, she went home, went to sleep. Play.
I am tired. I am 7.5 months pregnant. I am exhausted. I was laying in my bed, then that's when I felt the pressure of something or someone in my bed behind me. I felt the pressure of someone's hand underneath my neck. I thought I was dreaming, but when I realized that I wasn't dreaming is that when he pulled my head up, he actually pulled my hair up by the root of my hair, and he had the knife up under my neck.
So stop right there. She went home, and it was 2 dudes waiting on her in her apartment. 7.5 months pregnant, took advantage of her. Go to the next timestamp. Because remember, it's a little long, and we got some more we got to cover. That's why we got to remember, you keeping the commandments, that's your hedge of protection right there. So when you don't do that, what you think you're doing? You're putting yourself in danger. Go ahead. This the next timestamp. Yep. Play it.
As
Pause it.
The men drove to a forest and made Sharitha walk with them into the woods.
Go ahead.
he said, okay, we're gonna let you go. Go ahead, take 2 steps that way. I did not want to take 2 steps in front of him. I end up just taking off running in the opposite direction of where he told me to go. I'm running for my life. I'm running and I'm trying to run as fast as I could. I could hear the other guy, he was saying, catch that bitch, catch that bitch.
Excuse
Next
the
thing I
language.
knew, he ended up grabbing me from behind and then I fell on my stomach. I had my hands in front of my face and I had my hand in front of my neck. And he said, move your hand so I can leave my mark. Move your hand so I can leave my mark. And I was like, no, what mark? What mark? What mark? What are you doing? What are you talking about? Move your hand so I can leave my mark. And at that point, I felt the sharp knife cut my throat. He cut, the first cut is right up under my neck. It's going straight across. When he cut me the first time, then that's when my baby kicked. I felt her move. She kicked on the left. She was on the left and she kicked. And then he lifted my head up. And then that's when he cut me the second time. And that's when that cut is at an angle. I actually I had to act like I was dying. I was gasping for air. I was breathing real hard and I was just choking.
Stop. Now get the last timestamp for this. So those 2 men broke into her house. If you watch it on your own, they was watching her. Because this just abbreviated. They was watching her. I believe one of them was the son of, I think, one of the women that stayed in the apartment, but the woman was gone. She was 7 months pregnant with twins. Get the next timestamp. Yep. Read that.
Sharitha's twin daughters were born a month after the attack.
Play.
I don't think there would be one thing that I would change, because if I would change one thing, then maybe I would not be here. My daughters would not be alive. I survived because I wanted to see my daughters to be alive. I wanted my daughters to live. I wanted to live. You know, I had that will of God to stay alive. I had to do whatever it took to stay alive. So I survived.
Okay, you could drop that. Why y'all think she survived? The Lord. That's why she's alive. That's why all of us are alive in here. That's why we go to and fro, nothing happens to us. We keeping God's commandments. But you alive, you survive what you survive because of the Most High. Always remember that. From there, get Sirach 5 and verse 7. That's why it don't make no sense to survive some of the things we've been through, to come into this truth, and then you play with God like that. He's the reason why you breathing.
The book of Sirach, chapter 5 and verse 7. Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day.
We should not be procrastinating to turn to God. Those of you that may be watching this, you shouldn't be procrastinating turning to God. Why? Read.
For suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed.
God's wrath will come upon you quickly and you will be destroyed. Things happen fast. Things happen fast. Like when people say they get robbed or a gun get drawn on them, that happens quickly. When car accidents happen, it's like a split second. Even if you had a fender bender. Who had a fender bender before? Scared the hell out you, didn't it? In that split second. So imagine somebody when the car flips 6 times or the car explode. That stuff happened quick. Read that again.
Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day.
Why?
For suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security
When you think you safe,
thou shalt be destroyed.
it can happen to you. Don't play with God. From there, get Sirach 11:27. This is some people, the ones that just keep on doing what they doing. Keep on sinning. Keep on doing evil. Sirach 11:27.
The book of Sirach, chapter 11 and verse 27. The affliction of an hour maketh a man forget pleasure.
Read that one more time.
The affliction of an hour maketh a man forget pleasure.
When that affliction come, you forget everything good. You going through it. Let some affliction come. You forget everything. And y'all know, I ain't the only one experienced that. Things was just good, and then whoosh. Now you panicking. Now you like, oh man, I don't know what's finna happen. Read.
And in his end, his deeds shall be discovered.
Remember that. Your deeds gonna be discovered in the end. Get video 4. People be thinking stuff like this just happened for no reason. Play that. Pause it. Let's get that caption. Take it back some so the prophet could read that, because we got to see what we looking at. Read that. What that say?
Terrifying aftermath of the nightclub roof collapse.
That stuff happens. They be talking about it's a freak accident. We don't understand. No, that's God doing that. Some people don't understand. They one club away from one of them things happening. Play that. Look at that. That's the wrath of God. Pause it. Read Sirach 11:27 again. That goes perfect with that. Ain't nobody thinking about the music no more. They was just bumping and grinding in there, smoking, drinking, doing drugs. Not everybody distraught. Not everybody crying. Read that again.
The book of Sirach, chapter 11 and verse 27. The affliction of an hour maketh a man forget pleasure, and in his end his deeds shall be discovered.
Ain't nobody thinking about the person who number they was getting. That's out the window now. Now the ambulance coming. Now you trying to find the people you came with. You don't know if they got crushed by the roof. Drop that. Get video 5.
Shooting that killed 3 people and severely injured a woman took place about a block away from Vera Lounge. According to paperwork on the business's doors, the Chicago Police Department shut Vera Lounge down a day ago, citing the lounge poses a danger to the public. Early Sunday morning, a fight that started inside of Vera Lounge spilled out onto Central Avenue and School Street, leaving 3 people dead. There is now a growing memorial at that corner for 50-year-old Ricky Vera, 26-year-old Mario Pozuelos, and 24-year-old Mercedes Taveres. 32-year-old Samuel Parsons Salas is charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder and first-degree attempted murder for critically shooting Vera's daughter, who was celebrating her 25th birthday.
Stop. You know, when nobody think about that when they was going there that night. Nobody was thinking about that. That's how quick things can change. That's how quick things can happen. That's how quick the wrath of God can come. You in the midst of some sin, or you continuing to sin like we see some people do. That's how quick it can happen like that. I'm just finna go have a good time. How many times we done seen that on the news? Oh, she just was coming outside. She don't usually come outside like that. And then something happened. We got to stop playing with God. Get Sirach 3 and verse 26. We got to stop playing with God.
The book of Sirach, chapter 3 and verse 26.
Read that.
A stubborn heart shall fare evil at the last.
A stubborn heart or a rebellious heart. These is the people who don't want to stop doing what they doing. It says a stubborn heart shall fare evil at the last. Read.
And he that loveth the danger.
Some people love danger. They love to live their life on the wild side, as some people say. Read.
Shall perish therein.
Just give it time. You're going to perish in the end. There is nobody that was living a wild life and they didn't get punished for it. Nobody. There is no happy ending for the woman that sleep around. There's no happy ending for the man that like to be in the street. You either gonna go to jail forever or you're going to die. Then if you do live for some time, you got to look over your shoulder. We see this with these rappers and dudes who known in Chicago. They can't go nowhere. You know why? Somebody see them. Hey, so-and-so over here at this lounge up north. And then what happened? Gunfire. They dead. They can't even go outside. That's not a life. That's how quickly the judgment of God can come upon you. Read that again.
A stubborn heart shall fare evil at the last.
Read.
And he that loveth danger shall perish therein.
Read on.
Verse 27. An obstinate heart shall be laden with sorrows.
Going back to being stubborn and rebellious. You're laden with sorrows. You're full of sorrows. Read.
And the wicked man shall heap sin upon sin.
That's what it is. Some brothers, some sisters, they going to keep adding sin upon sin. That's why when you hear certain things, it's like, man, you just, at this point, you don't believe. There's no fear in you. You don't feel that God can punish you for what you're doing. That's why we keep hearing stuff like that. It's like, man, after this class and this class, after you see this happen to this person and you still do it, there is no fear of God. God got to make an example of you. You got to see what it feel like when God judged somebody. You got to see what it feel like when the wrath of God come upon you. Reading about it in the scriptures is not enough. Seeing people being thrown out for certain things, that's not enough. You got to feel it. You got to see what it's like. Like how teenagers be. Some of us was teenagers. Some of us got teenagers. I want to experience it for myself. Really? You on your own. I don't want to see what none of that feel like. I'm cool. I'm going to read about it. I done had enough near-death experience to know God ain't nothing to play with. But some of us, we still want to test the water. That's why you keep seeing people do that stuff. Get Proverbs 27, verse 1. This is what we got to understand. And get video 6. Get Proverbs 27, verse 1. This is what we got to understand. I'm finna show y'all something.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 27 and verse 1. Boast not thyself of tomorrow, for thou knowest not what a day may bring forth.
We can't be talking like we got control of everything. Yeah, I'm going to do this, and yeah, because, you know, I have this set in place, and like nothing is going to stop you. You just going to do whatever you saying out your mouth. It don't work like that. Read.
Let another man praise thee.
Read 27 and 1 again.
Proverbs chapter 27 and verse 1. Boast not thyself of tomorrow.
Why?
For thou knowest not what a day may bring forth.
Get James 4 and 13. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We're going to go a little in depth on that.
The book of James chapter 4 and verse 13. Go to now, ye that say, today or tomorrow we will go into such a city and continue there a year and buy and sell and get gain. Whereas ye know not what shall be on the morrow.
You don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. You don't have control over tomorrow. So we shouldn't talk like we do. Why? Read.
For what is your life? It is even a vapor that appeareth for a little time.
You ever boil or you ever have ice inside of a pot and then you add heat to it, it turned into what? It turned into a vapor. You see that vapor, that smoke go up, and then that smoke disappear. That's what our life is on this earth. We got a short time on this earth. Read.
And then vanisheth away.
That's how it is for us. We here, and then we gone. Read.
For that ye ought to say, if the Lord will, we shall live. And to do this or what? Or that, excuse me.
That's why we say Lord's will. Because you don't got control over nothing. So we shouldn't be talking like we do. And knowing this, if you are doing something, it's nothing for the Most High to just snatch your behind right off this earth real fast. When you know you in the midst of some sin, you know you in the midst of some evil, it's nothing for the Lord to get you up out of here. Nothing. From there, get video 6.
Well, this morning, as the rush hour gets underway, all lanes now open on the inbound Kennedy. That's following that fatal fiery crash that happened really between Sayre, where I am now, just before Nagel.
Yep, you can read that.
Person killed in fiery crash on Kennedy Expressway.
Oh, I hope everybody got out. Oh, that's terrible.
Look at that.
Oh, I hope everybody got out.
Hey, you know what's crazy about this? Whoever left the school late before. That's all of us. I don't know. Somebody just said it back there in BT. I don't know if I'm the only one. I be rolling past bad accidents. One time I was coming home, I seen 2 cars on the other side of the guardrail. How do you end up over there? Some of y'all probably seen that, depending on which way you going home. How do you end up, both of y'all, on the other side of the guardrail? We don't be ending up in them accidents because that's the Lord showing mercy. Because that's when they drive the craziest. Saturday night, we leaving the school. We was keeping the Sabbath. Some of them going to the club or they leaving the club. Speeding, high, drunk. This stuff happens. Play on.
Illinois State Police say 5 cars were involved in the deadly crash.
I remember I seen another video. You can stop, you can drop this. I remember I seen another video some years back. A brother's body was cut in half on Lakeshore Drive. From speeding. Body cut in half. They ain't know where his legs was. How does that happen to you? That's the God that you serving. Do not play with the Lord. Get Psalms 111 and 10. Psalms 111 and verse 10. It's a scripture we all know.
The book of Psalms, chapter 111 and verse 10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments.
Read it again.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.
That's the beginning of wisdom, when you fear God. Wisdom is, the scripture says the Lord will punish me for my sins. I'm not going to test that. It ain't about what man don't see. God see everything that I'm doing. That's what wisdom is going to force you to do. Read that again.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments.
A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. You got understanding. You're going to understand. You got to do what God says. It's just that simple. From there, get Job 28 and 25. We got to learn to fear God again. That's the problem with in today's society. We don't fear God. We fear man.
The book of Job, chapter 28 and verse 25. To make the weight for the winds, and he weigheth the waters by measure.
Read. 28 and 28. I'm sorry. Yep, 28.
Yes, sir. The book of Job, chapter 28 and verse 28. And unto man he said, behold, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom.
And what?
And to depart from evil is understanding.
Read that again.
And unto man he said, behold, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom. And to depart from evil is understanding.
How you got understanding and you don't understand that you got to depart from your old way of life, your old sins? That's how you know you got understanding. You got to depart from them people you used to hang with. Your circle need to be people in this truth, people that keep God's commandments. Your circle shouldn't still be the people that do drugs still, that go to some of these wild parties that we just seen. And guess what? It's going to be many more getting shot up. It was the one that they showed on 46 in Prairie. Right after that, 46 in Federal got shot up. Or was it 43rd? I think it was 43rd or 46th. Couple blocks away. Right after that. Nobody thinks it could happen to them until it happened to them. Stop playing with God. Read it again.
Job chapter 28 and verse 28. And unto men he said, behold, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom. And to depart from evil is understanding.
From there, get Proverbs 8 and verse 13. We must fear the Lord.
Proverbs chapter 8 and verse 13. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil.
Read that again.
The fear of the Lord is to hate evil.
That's why it's hard to see a person constantly do something over and over, and then they turn around and say that they fear the Lord and they believe. Read it again.
The fear of the Lord is to hate evil.
If you fear God, you're going to despise the things he don't like. God don't like that. That was my old ways. I got to let that go if I fear God. Read.
Pride and arrogancy and the evil way and the forward mouth do I hate.
So you got to look at yourself. If you have any of these traits, you got to rid yourself of that because God don't like that. Read it again.
The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride and arrogancy, and the evil way, and the forward mouth do I hate.
Get Sirach chapter 21 and verse 11. That's if you fear the Lord.
The book of Sirach chapter 21 and verse 11. He that keepeth the law of the Lord getteth the understanding thereof, and the perfection of the fear of the Lord is wisdom.
You see how the fear of God and wisdom is tied together? How you got wisdom and you don't fear the Lord? Read it again.
He that keepeth the law of the Lord getteth the understanding thereof.
So in order for you to get understanding, you got to keep God's commandments. Read.
And the perfection of the fear of the Lord is wisdom.
And the perfection of the fear of the Lord is wisdom. That's why you ain't never hear about David doing that again. Because of fear of God. David understood everything that he was going through. That was for what he did prior to that. He understood, look, I'm alive because of the mercy of the Lord. I know not to play with God. That's why when you read Psalms, David is telling you how terrible the Lord is because of what he went through. The Lord should have put him to death. You know, by law, by our law, what's supposed to happen to the adulterer and the adulteress? Him and Bathsheba was supposed to die, but the Lord showed him mercy. But even with that mercy, he still paid for what he did. So David understood the fear of the Lord. We got to understand the fear of the Lord. We got to stop playing out here. You can be that example. I remember, this is an example here. Get Proverbs 21 and 11. I remember one of the officers was teaching a brother. I remember this like it was yesterday. I be talking to brothers about this all the time. This brother, we call him over to the camp, and he had tattoos all on his face. It's a young brother around my age. And while he was talking to the officer, the whole time he like this. The whole time. And we like, bro, what's wrong? You good? Yeah, I'm good. Walked away after some time. A week later, we see his face pop up on Legal Help Firm. Who know what Legal Help Firm is? That's the Facebook page. They put up the pictures of people that got murdered. A week later, he was just at the camp. He murdered. I'm posting it on the Telegram. I'm like, bro, this the brother we was just talking to. You don't know how long you got, so why play with the Lord? Why play them games? That's why the scripture said in Sirach 5:7, don't make no tarrying to turn to the Lord. You better come back to God ASAP. Read that again. You was back in Proverbs.
Yeah, I went Proverbs 21:11.
Yeah, Proverbs 21:11. You ain't even read it. Go ahead.
Right. The book of Proverbs, chapter 21 and verse 11. When the scorner is punished, the simple is made wise.
So we supposed to be wise. We supposed to be made wise when we see what happened to other people. You supposed to be able to learn from other people's actions. For example, a young man could grow up. He could see his father go to jail for murder or selling drugs. He could learn from that, or he could go do the same thing. We got to take our pick. You could see the woman that plays the whore. Now she taking pills for the rest of her life. You could learn from that, or you could be the next one. You could see the person overdose on drugs and die. You could learn from that, or you could be the next one. Y'all understand? We got to learn from others' mistakes. We shouldn't be trying to participate. That's why we have a whole Bible. This should be enough for you, but some of us is not. Romans 15:4.
The book of Romans, chapter 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning.
All of this was written for our learning. We're supposed to learn from the men and women that came before us, their experiences, what they did wrong, what they did right, and gain wisdom from that. Read.
That we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope.
This is where we get our comfort from. This is where we get our hope. Because our hope is what? That we make the kingdom. We keep God's commandments. We're going to get the kingdom. We're going to rule forever. But before we could get any of that, we got to have a healthy fear of God. We have to fear the Lord and do what God says. Or we will be on the bad end. We will be burning in the lake of fire. You're going to be punished for what you do in this life. Always remember that. All right, that's going to conclude the class, family. Hope y'all got edified from that. Remember, you don't know what God's tolerance is with you. Don't test God.
Across the earth, the prophets move. From city streets to distant lands, the message is the same. Israel must rise. Through every quest, every journey, the truth spreads. No border can contain it. No distance can silence it. Our nation lives in every moment. In joy, we celebrate marriages. In sorrow, we honor our dead. On the Sabbath, we gather as one. Families rejoicing together, bound by the commandments of God. Yet are we tried. From the stones in Kenya to the hatred in Montana, we endure as a soldier of the Lord. And still, the mission expands. On the airwaves, on the screens, in every nation under heaven, Israel's voice is heard. We build our communities. We raise our children in royalty. We restore what was broken. We clean what was defiled. We show the world who we are. This is Israel united in Christ. Nation in motion. Nation endures.